members of the Party of God, the Hezbollah. After Israel was evicted in May 2000 from South Lebanon, Israel was determined to undo that defeat. And it began planning probably as early as 2001. Israel began planning for the next round with the Hezbollah. They waited patiently for a pretext, an excuse to unleash their killing machine, and they found that pretext in July 2006. They went into Lebanon expecting to win, but unexpectedly suffering another major military defeat. And now Israel was more determined than ever to undo that sequence of military defeats. At that point, it did not believe it had an option in Lebanon, so it turned to Gaza to use Gaza as a demonstration laboratory to restore what Israelis call their deterrence capacity. And deterrence capacity is just a fancy term political scientists invented to make you think they know something that you don't, which is very rarely the case, and the opposite is more usually the case. Deterrence capacity just means to restore the Arab world's fear, the Arab Muslim world's fear of Israel. And so they decided they were going to restore their deterrence capacity by going into Gaza. Let me just go through quickly the background to the assault on Gaza, because the whole history is being so rapidly erased. You watch before your eyes how history is rewritten and whitewashed. Yesterday, the New York Times' chief reporter in the Middle East, a character who goes by the name of Ethan Brana, he's talking about the so-called peace process, and he's reviewing the history. And in reviewing the history, he says, the past few years, there's been no violence in Israel and Palestine. There's been no violence the past few years. So much for what happened in Gaza between December 27, 2008 and January 18, 2009. There's been no violence. So, let's first go through the history. In January 2006, there were elections in the occupied Palestinian territories. According to Jimmy Carter, the former U.S. president, who was an observer of those elections, he said they were completely honest and fair. Unexpectedly, Hamas, the Islamic movement, it came out the victor. It was the first time in the Arab Muslim world, the first time that a sitting government, or I should say the Arab world, let me amend that, the Arab world. It was the first time in the Arab world that a sitting government was defeated in an election and left office. The second time would be Iraq, if and when a new coalition government is formed. But thus far, the Palestinians represented the most democratic experiment thus far in the modern Arab world? Well, Israel and the United States reacted to these completely honest and fair elections. Israel and the United States reacted by imposing economic sanctions on the people of Gaza to punish them for having elected the wrong government into power. In 2007, in June, about a year and a half after the elections, Israel, the United States, and some elements of the Palestinian Authority, they attempted a coup to overthrow the legally elected government, Hamas. The coup failed, and now Israel and the United States, they tightened the blockade of Gaza, a blockade which Amnesty International called a flagrant violation of international law, a blockade which the UN Commission Goldstone the Goldstone mission later called a possible crime against humanity. The former UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Mary Robinson, she journeyed to Gaza at this time, and she said, Gaza's whole civilization has been destroyed. I'm not exaggerating. Its whole civilization has been destroyed. In June 2008, Egypt brokered a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. And under the terms of the ceasefire, each side had obligations. On the Palestinian side, Hamas had to stop its rocket and mortar attacks on Israel. And on the Israeli side, Israel had to gradually lift the blockade of Gaza. The blockade which is a flagrant violation of international law. According to the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs website, Hamas, and now I'm quoting it, Hamas was careful to maintain the ceasefire. Hamas was careful to maintain the ceasefire. But Israel reneged on its obligation to gradually lift the blockade of Gaza. What happened next? It's not controversial. It's easy enough to confirm on your own. All you have to do is go to Amnesty International's yearbook for 2009. And this is what Amnesty tells you. It says a ceasefire agreed in June between Israel and Palestinian armed groups in Gaza. The ceasefire held for 4.5 months. But it broke down after Israeli forces killed 6 Palestinian militants in airstrikes and other attacks on November 4th. Israel was gearing up for its attack on Gaza. It began planning the attack at least as early as March 2007. Once it was prepared for the attack, once all the pieces were in place, it then needed a pretext. It needed an excuse. And so it patiently waited until the U.S. election day, November 4th, 2008, when all the attention of the media and the public would be riveted to the results of the historic election. And on that day, Israel entered Gaza, killed 6 Palestinian militants, knowing full well that it would cause a breakdown in the ceasefire, and wanting the ceasefire to break down, wanting those Hamas mortar and missile attacks, rocket attacks, so it will have have its pretext, its excuse to go into Gaza.